When I think about our river systems here, I think about really a miniature Amazon. I mean, we've got something incredible in our backyard here in the Southeast. When you get out in a boat, you're paddling downstream, you're able to look into the water. You see turtles on the bank edges, and you see those blue herons. It's incredible to get that link when you're actually on the water to what is going on under the water, what is tied to the water. I think it really helps people to understand that the river is that main artery with all of this awesome biodiversity, and then you've got all these feeder capillaries, tributaries that are coming in, and it gives you that overall perspective of why that biodiversity is dependent on that river system and all those tributaries. Fish have to be able to move. Fish move upstream and downstream for a number of different reasons. One is for spawning. Fish move to particular areas throughout the year in order to spawn, in order to have babies. In addition to spawning, fish have to move into different areas for temperature. If they're in a big river and they need to get to a thermal refuge, they have to go up into a smaller tributary in order to find colder water. So fish movement is extremely important for all different populations of fish, and we as humans have had major historic impacts on those fish migrations.
Larger rivers are really a highway for fish. There are numerous fish that utilize this sort of main trunk of the river. Fish have been migrating up and down rivers for thousands of years, forever. And when we put barriers like a dam on a river and stream, we interrupt the ability for that fish to move. Almost every large river in the southeastern U.S. has a dam on it.
Every few hundred miles we have a dam to help with water supply, to help with power, and those are having major impacts. Fish are unable to move significant distances at all, and when we think at a larger scale, we don't just have dams impacting our main stem rivers and some of our smaller tributaries. We also have tons of issues with just bridges and culverts. So when you're driving down a road, you could drive over several culverts or several bridges in just a few miles. And you think about all the different systems that you've crossed. Well, think about all the different fish populations that you've prevented from moving upstream or downstream. Historically, I think, we didn't think about our impacts when we were putting in all these crossings. Most of our crossings didn't incorporate fish passage into the crossing. So they're some type of box culverts where fish, literally can't move upstream or downstream. And those are easy things that we can fix. When we're redoing roads, we can put in a design where fish are able to move up and downstream.
On the small creeks and rivers and streams, we can come in and take out a culvert or a small dam. On a big river like the Apalachicola, where you have a really large structure, we have to look for innovative ways to use the existing infrastructure. Although fish ladders weren't installed at the time they were constructed, they probably were needed. In the absence of those fish ladders, we're using the navigation locks to help give the fish a lift up and over the dam. What we're trying to do here is just give the fish a chance to get past the dam and get back to doing what Mother Nature intended. We really want them to have every opportunity to complete their life cycles and to thrive.
Fish passage connectivity is a major focus of the Nature Conservancy, and it's a major focus because so many of our watersheds have so many different fish passage issues that exist across the Southeast. The Nature Conservancy and partners have really been trying to focus in on what we can do in terms of fish passage and connectivity. We have a great tool that's called CCAP, that stands for Southeastern Aquatic Connectivity Project.
A local group can come in and look at the dams and the barriers within their own watershed and focus their local energies on the most important structures to try and improve.
I think there's so much opportunity that groups like the Nature Conservancy, but really cities and counties, everyone, even individuals, can look at and say, okay, what am I doing today in my yard? What am I doing today in this county? And what is it doing in terms of impacts to our streams and rivers? We've got the science today. We've got grant funding available for all of these different projects. And I think it's just a matter of taking advantage of that opportunity. It's important to understand the more miles we can open up for those fish, the more likely we are to see our fish, our biodiversity really come back in our southeastern rivers and streams.